So for 2 years, I have been working behind the scenes to get the right brew babes for this concept. And my first person was Kat, who will be here later. She works at Gulfport Brewing and has worked in basically every aspect of beer. And then Taylor and I were behind the bar here together, and we had this amazing conversation. And I was like, this should have been recorded. So we decided she was coming on, and I love having Taylor on because you don't drink. No. You did.
Yeah, for a good bit. I mean, I love breweries. It was always like a community space for me to just be. And then about 14 months ago, I quit drinking.
But you do the NAs.
Time. I think we should have more.
I think there should be more local NA beer for sure, because I think that that's an underserved market. And I think you bring such a great perspective to everything. So I'm super excited to have you on. And I bought a studio, which obviously we're not in because it's a month late. And so we decided to come out and just do a big launch party. It's really off the cuff today a little. But that's how Roommate started. It's literally women sitting around going, this should have been recorded. And so here we are 2 years later. So we did the launch for this reason. I have worked in the food and beverage industry for 35 years. I started when I was 11. And with no joke, like that's true. I started when I was 11. It's been 35 years. 10 years ago in 2014, I realized that the laws against beer were ridiculous. And so I didn't drink beer, and I decided to be a lobbyist for the craft beer industry because nobody gets into beer like me. I decided, well, there's a lot of these pesky laws, so I should try beer, which is why I ended up trying ciders and then getting into regular beer. And now I am going to be a trained Cicerone so that I can be an expert in beer because I fell in love with the industry. It was more than just beer, which is something we talk about a lot. It is a community center. The craft beer industry is about supporting each other and being together and being more than just a beverage. We're a community, and I love that community. And so, that kept me in beer, and now I don't care about the laws. I do, but I'd rather drink the beer. And because I've been food and beverage for so long, I decided to jump back behind a bar a year and a half ago, and it's been an amazing journey since then. Yeah. I look at it this way, that we are starting to see it not being as much about the beer.
It's changing. Just to give some insight
Yes.
to people who are like, where did you get this data from? Well, you're doing social media. So you see it day in, day out. These numbers are skewed from men being involved to women being.
Yep.
You're saying that 56% of your audience online is actually women.
Yeah. And I think that, and I would say like our group Bros really kind of paved the way for what we see now. I think that there's this huge women revolution that's coming to beer and coming to craft beer that is really going to change how things move forward in the future. Yeah. There's just this really awesome kind of like way that women, number one, they spend 10% more. So we're spenders, which like, seriously, we're spenders. And we know. So, yeah. What are we spending on? Honestly, we only have a finite amount of expendable dollars. And so we're going to spend them on an experience. Women are much more experienced than they are, oh, this tastes good. Don't get me wrong. They don't want crappy. Like, nobody wants to be on a taste test. But I think you're going to see it go more towards this experience, this community, these events. And I think the more and more that breweries kind of move that way, which we already see. Like, we already see so many cool events that breweries are putting on. And I think the more that happens, the more we're going to see the craft brewery industry that I think it's going to, I don't want to say rise again, because I don't want to say that it fell, because it didn't fall. But I think you're going to see it change to the point where if breweries can change with the market, you're going to see the demand come way up than what we've seen in the past. I'm excited for it. I love that we're doing a podcast that is women in beer, because I feel like the market is changing to that dynamic. And especially, how did you get into beer?
I think when I was in college, that's when I had my first craft beer. And then I just kind of fell in love with it. It was like, it was before craft beer was even a thing. It was like the
smaller breweries. It was like Boulevard Wheat and Shiner Bock and all those things when the wheat beers were really popular. And I had like a boyfriend in college who introduced it to me, and that probably changed my life. I could have been like, and no offense to Budweiser, but I could just be like a straight up like Bud Light drinker, and then I became like a very adventurous beer drinker, and I'm kind of like a food adventure person. So I always like, and I grew up in the coffee industry, so just that bar, coffee shop kind of environment brings people in. You feel comfortable with everyone, and everyone just becomes your family. And I think I would, when I'd go adventure places, my place would be coffee shops and breweries, just to go hang out, check out, try their beer. And I just love all craft things. So anything that's finely done, someone puts their hearts, love into it. And I worked at a brewery in Arizona, got Cicerone certified there, moved out here about like an over a year and a half ago. Got a job here at Emerald Coast, just like slid on it and just really fell in love with the community. And so even after I quit drinking, having the community of people here who's so supportive, so loving, it keeps me in love with beer. And I still love the taste of it, love trying all the different NAs that are coming out all the time now. Yeah, it's like a family. Being in beer is like a brewery family. So that's really what feeds my heart and soul. What got me into beer and keeps me in it.
So everybody here, we almost know everybody.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I love every person in here. And I love every person in here because it is more about the community than what beer is on tap. And I love that about this industry. And I love that just about all of it. There's no other industry like that. But I also own an individual brand. If you own Sassy Cider Chick, which and so I got into beer from ciders. I did a collaboration with the brewers here. And so we did a peach serrano pepper cider, which is available behind the bar. There's also these little cake bombs. So they're little bites of deliciousness. And try out all the vendors. People from home don't realize there's a whole market and everything going on.
Yeah, great vendors out here that kind of showcase many different parts of our curious community.
I really have a special spot in my heart about my transformation of beer over the years. And I really love my experience as much as it has frustrated me, don't get me wrong. I really feel that I have a full circle energy. Working for a brewery that had to deal with distribution and no longer worked for them, worked for a distributor. That was a small distributor, like had to fight with like, you guys are working with this big distributor, that big distributor. We're the little guys, support the little guys. Like, let's try to make the little guys a thing. And I worked my whole ass. I gave everything that I could give to that company to make that thing happen. And that thing is a really hard thing to do when you've had, as we've talked about in our last podcast, so many contributing factors in regards to like lobbyists. We'll talk about that more in the future, but not soon.
Right.
Just to give like a little touch. Or easy to deal with working for the little guy, not only on the little guy brewery level, but also the little guy distributor level. That was hard. And I did it, and I loved it. I loved it so much. And I just felt so compassionate about the whole thing. Didn't work for them anymore, and I went to one of the breweries that actually worked with that distributor, which is Gulfport. Yes. It's so much more than that. Where's that happy middle of that?
Yeah.
We're always have my fingers on tap. Sales corporate. And that's like my stick there.
I came into it from the laws.
Right. So you get it more.
Yes.
I get it.
Yeah. I
Really
came into
honest.
it because of the bad laws. And I'm still trying to fix this. And that'll be a process for years down the road. But the one thing that I think we both share is like that falling in love with an industry and a community.
I fell in love with it before I knew how good it.
Yeah.
I found out how good it was.
Didn't drink beer. And then but the laws were unfair. And then now I love beer and I love this community and I love everything that all of us are building together, because it is one of the few industries where nobody loses competition.
No.
You're all collaborating. You're in this together.
Oh my gosh.
Actually seriously interested in your answer because the one thing that people ask all the time, and this is going to be the topic of this episode if we get it recorded. But we'll just talk about it again if we don't. But a lot of people ask if craft beer is on the way out. Are we an oversaturated market? Is it on the way out? Or is it coming back? Like, where do you see craft beer right?
I like that question. I think it's evolving in a unique way because it's not just about beer. We're putting on events. Breweries are putting on events more. They're doing markets. They're having cocktails. They're having wine, which we also do. But it's, I think, leaning into the community because that's what people are missing. I mean, you can have like great beer, but like community is what people crave and like that sense of connection or like beer therapy or whatever you want to call it. I think that's really what we're moving into as a society or just like in order to keep your life. But I think it'll evolve, but it's catering more to just people's taste. It's catering to who they want to surround themselves regular and who they want to absorb information and the love that you put into beer. I think it's just making more creative.
Brew Bros. I love what they did started the craft beer industry, but I think women have revolutionized it. And I think that we're changing the market, which is why I also wanted to see a podcast like this. Because we're changing the way the market in beer goes. And I think if breweries change with that and make it more about community and not less about beer, because I think the beer is important. But I think when you start making it about the community and about events and about an experience, I think those breweries are going to do really well. And I think we're going to see more new breweries come up that also do well that way. But I do think that because of women and because of what we've done in the beer industry, it is evolving. And I can't wait to see what it evolves.
Because it's the whole beer culture. Like when you see breweries pop up in a town, you see how that town starts to change. It becomes more community oriented. I think it's just going to keep on going.
Yes, I do too. Like I said, I think that there's always a place for the guys. Like we said on the first episode, I would love to see a Brew Bros podcast because I think they have a really neat perspective. Shout out to Brew Bros. We should set up. But I definitely think that women are revolutionizing craft beer, and I'm so excited to see what men and women come together to do in the brewery industry moving forward.
I think it was my Reef Donkey Tampa Bay beer coach shirt the other day because I love Reef Donkey always.
Yeah.
But like it was a little cold out, and so I've only got like 3 shirts that are long sleeve that are beer shirt, and so I wore that shirt the other day, and somebody comes up to me, this really sweet guy, just like, hey, I'll take this beer shirt.
Like who?
I'm not wearing a competitor shirt. Have you been to Bruto? Have you been there? No, I've never been there. Cool. They're friends of ours. Yes. I'll tell you what, though. Lean in. I got him to lean in. Said, if you ever see one of these motherfuckers wearing a Jay didn't say, but I gave an example. You let me know. Because that's not allowed here.
Yes.
And the domestic, corporate, I said, you ever see somebody wearing a corporate blue shirt? Let me, here's my phone number. These guys are friends of mine. And he goes, oh, that's so interesting. I never really thought about it like that. But I was like, I think you should. Any independent brewery from the Tampa Bay area or from across the fucking country, across the globe, they're our friends.
Yes. No, and the funny thing is, I'm a marketer first, so everything I do is branded. Obviously, everything I wear, everything I gave you is branded. So, and our calendar came out today. That calendar came out today, and I'm actually drinking Reef Donkey in all of my pictures. But because I'm such a marketer, it's branded with Sassy Cider Chick. Yeah. Oh God. So my beer wasn't created. So I'm actually drinking Reef Donkey in all of my pictures. And I do.
Guinness is where's my camera at?
This one.
Guinness is my all-time favorite beer of the fucking week.
Yes.
Love a Huckabee donkey.
No, so we have so much more to talk about on other podcasts. I'm so excited. This is a journey that is a long time coming. Like, you know, like how dear it is to my heart. And I just want to hang out with my girls and talk about beer. And I'm so glad that I get to do it with you. So we have so many more podcasts to come, so many more cool things. Start day one.
Like, she had a goal, she did it.
Yeah.
We've talked about this for so long.
I know.
I wish that her stickers are so far away. She fucking did it. She made it happen. Like, she had a goal, she made it happen. And I couldn't be more proud of you. Like, I'm so thank you for letting me, like, a very small part of it to just come up and hang out and talk.